Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello everybody and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson, and today we are here for the 52-year journey through film. I am joined, of course, by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you, as you know, but as the people might not. We are on the year 2011. We've begun the 2010s, and it has led us here home. It is Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And this was an interesting one, especially coming off a couple CGI-heavy VFX creations in Avatar and even Inception to a degree, you know, like those cities aren't folding in on themselves actually, you know, but
What?
Yeah, but this was an interesting one. I wouldn't say it was my favorite. I wouldn't say it was the best, but it was a solid watch. It was a solid watch. I'll lay the groundwork for the people here. It was released August 5th, 2011. It was written by Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver, and based on the novel by Pierre Bouillet, and director is Rupert Wyatt. Yeah, how'd you feel, man? How'd you feel about this?
I'd say this is the first time that I've ever seen this one, which is interesting. The only times I've ever seen any of these movies, I think it's been at least the second one or further. And by second one, I'm kind of excluding the 2001 film.
The 1968 film.
Yeah, and all of the ones before it. I think this is the first one to me for whatever reason. I've never, I don't know if like the 2001 is in the same universe as this, or if this is like a I don't know.
I've always taken it as a reboot, and I think it is a reboot. Like I don't think it's a prequel per se. I think it's like you saw that we're expanding on that IP. It's not the same thing, but it's the Planet of the Apes. We're taking it in a new direction. We're rebooting it, and that's kind of what I took this as. And it was an interesting start, you know, to this trilogy as it became. And like I said, I wouldn't say it's the best movie I've ever watched. You know, we breeze through shit in the first like 20, 30 minutes, you know, like James Franco's character. I'm not a big James Franco fan, and then when you don't give him anything to chew on, I'm just like, there was little to no reason for him to be in the movie beyond the very end of it. And, you know,
not much opportunity.
Breezing through his whole like, here we have a cure for Alzheimer's. I'm going to go treat my dad. Oh shit, my dad's better. Like, and it was just like, it all happened so fast. And at a point you realize, oh, the main character is Caesar. That's whose story matters here. And I think it shines. I think it shows through that Caesar's definitely the main character here, especially once he gets locked up. That's when the story definitely starts heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like they could have done a whole lot better with the James Franco side of the story. Like, I don't know if it's just him or if it was just like they had to get moving, like, and they didn't have time to develop the things they wanted to or something. I don't know.
Yeah, my thing is that this is one of those movies that simply could have benefited from another even 20 minutes of screen time. Because I think Caesar's story, it gets fleshed out about as much as you can flesh out Caesar's side of the story, but I think there could have been a little bit more something there with James Franco and Frida Pinto trying to get Caesar back. It was just kind of like,
I don't know, man. Sorry.
Mm.
And then one day he just walks in there and bribes the guy, and all of a sudden he's like, yeah, sure. And it's like,
True.
oh, y'all couldn't have done that first things first?
Mm. I guess at that point, well, before they didn't know that he was being treated horribly, right?
True.
Because they, like, that's the whole thing of their sanctuary there, is that they show them, hey, yeah, look at this beautiful room that he can walk around in. This is going to be his home. But
Yeah.
then no. Yeah. Like, and that was like just like
Oh, no,
the
there were a lot.
legitimate animal abuse, like, that's just very,
Oh, I mean, like,
like,
a lot of this movie's devastating just because, like, it's based in real things, animal testing, and then, you know, what some have framed as the conservation of animal life, but it is actually basically imprisoning them, you know, and,
I mean, movie opens up with, like, the capture of them in the wild, which it like occurred to me back whenever, like, it was way later in the movie whenever they were like, whenever he's like, yeah, 112 works. I need to work on 113, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, oh, it makes you smarter. Okay, then work on it and still get you whatever you need. They wheeled in like 6 more monkeys or 10 more monkeys. And then I'm like, oh, wait, like they just went and did that again. Like, just captured these monkeys out from the wild. And, like, they're taking them in. Like, it was like, dang, like, even though that, like, I think the movie frames what they're trying to do in a good light, you know, like they're trying to be like, it's the cure for Alzheimer's, it's the cure for all these things, but then it shows the dark, like, backbone of the company, and like that
that's fair. I hadn't really considered that the way they're portraying the company to us Genesis, you know, because like I'd only looked at them like, this is some villainous shit, you know, right. And I know they're doing it in the spirit of curing Alzheimer's, which is an admirable goal. It was only that for James Franco.
I guess, yeah, true. I think
it was money making for everyone else there.
That's true. Yeah, I guess literally, what was the character's name? The head, yeah, Stephen Jacobs. Jacobs, that's right. They called him Jacobs. He literally was like, they don't care about your dreams. They don't care about anything. Like, they just care about results and how they can make money. And he like, whenever he realizes, that like 112 worked, after he says like, I did it on my father, and then it has enhancing qualities, he goes, you're going to make history and I'm going to make money. You know, like, he was just like,
that was the deal.
Yeah. Just like very clear, at that point. I guess that's what I was meaning. Like, James Franco's kind of portrayal of the company, not the company, but just like his idea. It's kind of like, Avatar thing, I guess, you know, sort of.
Oh, it's like a lot of these sci-fi disaster films where it's like one scientist meant well, but it all fell apart and the corporation ended up taking it too far, and then everything went to shit. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, Avatar, Terminator, all of this shit, like Aliens. It's all it all sort of happens that way. Jurassic Park, it all sort of happens that way. So it's like It was definitely a really good framework for a movie, you know, and we watched, like I said, all those movies kind of similar, not the same, you know, they obviously have their own veins, but you can find those similarities in themes and kind of what they're saying to us. And I love that one of my favorite parts of the movie is that the monkeys have no interest in killing once they are. Once they are woken up, basically, they just, like, Caesar only kills one dude, and it was kind of on accident. The dude starts his little electrical stick, and he sprays him with a hose, and it's like, oh shit, yeah, that dude's dead, and like, thank God that dude's dead.
True, fuck that dude. Yes,
well, like, even the
Dodge Landon. There, let me just put in a quick nomination for a fucking worst at being the worst. This dude sucked. His name is Dodge Landon.
Yeah, Dodge Landon
is a forgettable name.
He'd be at the top one. Best of being the worst.
Screw that dude. Yeah, I mean, it was because I was thinking about that, and like I was like, oh, well, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, if he shoots him with this water, this dude is going to be fried, like just
Mm-hmm.
instantly fried. But like Caesar doesn't know that.
Yeah, like
Like he's been
he's
enhanced
smart.
cognitively and all, but he's like, yeah, he doesn't know what electricity and like that stuff yet. Like, and I'm like, oh, like he was really like disappointed that he died.
Mm-hmm.
And like he walked and he was like, oh dang, I really just killed a man. Like, even though he was a piece of shit human that deserved it.
Well, and he went very hard in the other direction whenever any of the other apes were about to kill somebody. It was like, no.
Yeah, that was sick. His first word.
No. It was like, okay, and I was like, that's Andy Serkis as fuck. There's like really early on in this movie, there's a zoom in on Caesar's eyes, and I was like, wow, they're really good at this motion capture shit, or like this computer generated stuff, because it looked just like Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
It always gets me. But I don't know. I think he gets to shine more in the newer movies. Oh
yeah,
like the ones where he's
talk a lot
literally
more.
Talk a lot more and like way more emotion. Like the movies that I remember, like scenes that I remember, is like he's up in like they're in the redwoods, up in the trees, like they've built like their whole like civilization, like thing, and he's like just speaking to them as their leader, or like that's what I remember of like watching these movies. But I've never seen like one of them full of. I've never seen like a full movie of any of these. I've always come in like it's just randomly been on TV or someone was watching it and I came in halfway. So it was like I've never seen the full movies ever.
Oh, for sure, me neither. Like this is definitely a movie franchise that I've never given a shit about. Like it's always like I remember. I think it was 2017 when War of the Planet of the Apes came out. I remember the previews for that and like the commercials on TV and stuff. And I think I even caught it in passing once or twice. Like watched it, like a little bit of it. It's just one that's never piqued my interest. And now that I've gotten past this one and knowing the other two are directed by Matt Reeves, I'm a little bit more inclined to go back and check those out now that I've developed something of a fandom for Matt Reeves through the Batman. So I mean, like I'm a shoo-in to go check these out at some point. There were really cool elements, like it definitely seemed like anytime Caesar got to like roam, climb and jump and fucking fly, like it was like, okay, yeah, this rocks. I really love this.
Man,
but that's the thing about this movie is that like beyond seeing Caesar do his thing, I didn't get a ton out of it,
Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, there were like super like after he got to climb and like run through all that, and then they were walking him out. Like, and he's on a leash, and then he sees the dog on the leash,
and that's a pet.
And then he's just like, wait, like he realizes it, but doesn't say anything until he gets to the car, and then he like makes the human move and gets in the back seat, like normal. And it was, I don't know, it was just like, oh, and then and then they send him away.
The character with the most part.
Yeah, I guess they have to send him away or whatever, like just for the court order. Or whatever, like, what was I guess, like, were they just waiting on a court date and they basically just had to keep him in jail until then? Or, okay, I didn't know if it was, like, a permanent thing or, like, or
no,
what
they were waiting on a court date. And because there's that part where that lady goes, you're lucky you're getting a court date and they didn't just put that animal down.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true. Yeah.
And that dude was a piece of shit. Their next door neighbor.
Yeah.
That dude just sucked.
Ooh.
I know he was supposed to be like a proximity or a facsimile of like a normal dude who would be like, I'm living next to a monkey. And it's like, okay.
Did he catch the virus himself? Because like he got sneezed on by the dude who, I wonder like in the next movies if that comes back. If he like comes back as like patient 1, because patient 0 was the dude in the lab who died. Eventually. So I guess this dude hopefully is destined to die. That'll be a good reason to watch the next one. Hopefully he just dies from the virus again, or I don't know. I guess he probably spreads it before he dies. I don't know. I guess I really don't know what happens in the next movies, really.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I'm intrigued to, and you know what? This movie did a good job because it hooked me to the point where like I probably will go watch the next couple Planet of the Apes movies just whenever I get the chance to kind of catch up with this franchise because it's an objectively cool idea with some breathtaking visual effects. Like
for 2011, like I mean,
this was impressive.
I think younger Caesar looked a little like because they focused heavily on whenever he was fully developed, or not fully developed, but at least whenever he's in the sanctuary and he's like, that's him for the rest of the movie. Yeah. Like he looked good. But like the early Caesars where it was only like a couple minutes or so of him, like it looked a little, but I mean,
looks like a tiny Andy Serkis.
Yeah. Looks like, I mean, it is 2011 and like, I'm not expecting perfection, but like, that's what I'm curious in these next movies. Like I remember like these, at least the little bits I've seen of these ones, like that they look so much better. And that excites me. Because I'm definitely going to give them a watch. It hooked me enough to where I'm definitely watching. But,
and the key was Caesar. That part where he gets to the sanctuary of sorts, and they're bullying him, and he realizes, okay, well, I gotta show these fools what's up. I can't. I'm smarter than every motherfucker here. I got this shit.
He freaking mob bossed his way to the top in a single night. Dude was like, I've had enough. Let me just whip together the easiest plan to win over every single person in here.
And I like how they set the precedent for the sticking the hand out as like a sign of asking permission, and then the other monkey sticks his hand out like, yes, you are. You're that guy.
Yeah. And I mean, everybody eats, he wasn't just their boss. He's like, he gave them all a cookie. And they were like, oh, cookie, this dude's awesome. We're
cookies.
We're living. And then he gives them consciousness, basically. Like, I mean, gives him like, it makes them.
Oh, and that part fucking rocked. Like him climbing up out of the sanctuary, running home, being like, all right, I don't know what I'm here for, but I'm here to do something. Like and I think he had the intention of going and potentially staying. Like it was just like an escape. And then he gets there and he finds that and he goes, oh, I've got a better idea.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. His whole plan was really sick and how it worked out. And then how they lured the guards into the sanctuary, and then like, cause he was out of his cage and they're like, wait, what? Are you out of your cage? And then he goes into the sanctuary.
Just beats the shit out of him.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like surprisingly, the people in this movie could take a hit. That neighbor got tackled and then like kicked off of his deck and rolled and then just got up and started. I'm like, dang, dude, after that, I am down for the count.
I'm
probably,
down. I'm down. Like I'm not getting back up.
Yeah, getting fully tackled by a monk. Like, I mean, like, I don't know, but yeah, I'm definitely glad that guard died. I don't know what that other guard was thinking of running into the room where all of the escaped monkeys are, and not thinking that he was about to get the shit beat out of him.
I don't know.
But
I thought it was bold. And like that was kind of like the human error across all of this, is that they were just all really bold and underestimated what the monkeys could do. Fair. And it was like, oh yeah, they're going to take over. We're done. We're done here. That was it for us.
Them running through the trees, and like the people who are running and walking are like, what? Like just terrified. Like
this, as much as like I'm left kind of not underwhelmed by this movie. It was solid, but like I don't think it was particularly good. Like I don't think it was like a great movie or anything. It did have a lot of great structure, like sort of like a setting up, executing on it later, and like taking him to the redwoods and letting him run around there, and then whenever they escape all the apes, where's he going? He's like, I know where I'm taking these motherfuckers. We're going to the redwoods. That place is paradise. Like I love that, and that whole them on the Golden Gate Bridge trying to make it across and outsmarting everybody, climbing up and climbing under.
That was sick. Yes, the cops thought, like Because even James Franco, I always forget his character's name. Will Rodman. Yeah, I'll still call him James Franco probably. But like he was like, oh dang, they're gonna get slaughtered. Like even he thought that they were all done for.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I don't know.
And I don't know if that's a little writing sort of easy way out, because I feel like it's common sense to know monkeys can climb. Like, as I was watching as I was watching it, I was like, they're going to climb and go under the bridge. Like, no, they're not going to get slaughtered. They're about to sneak attack these motherfuckers, and it's going to be awesome. And then I was like, oh, does that make this bad writing? Because they're like, oh no. Or is it just another example of the human's hubris?
Maybe because we know and we saw them climb, you know, that like obviously we think we'd expect it, but like they're there. They're like just regular police, just cops.
And I guess they did send more right at them. Like it wasn't like all.
And they had a bus coming, you know, and they were like, it was like a distraction. And then freaking Caesar comes out on a horse, you know,
King shit.
Like, oh my, he comes out first. He was at the front of the line, dude. Like, oh,
yep. He's fucking Maximus in this hoe. You know what I'm saying? He's at the front. He's at the front lines. He's not hanging back.
I don't know. I put Andy Serkis as Caesar down in Best Actor. And I'm like iffy on it. I guess like we only have, you know, 2 movies.
We're going to keep him there for now. You know, like, I think it's fair.
I think he truly earns it in these later movies. If I'm like remembering correctly, but I definitely like whenever you know, obviously not for this list because we won't be covering those movies, but, it's just insane what this man can do with creature work. Kong, Gollum, Caesar.
He's pretty incredible. And, you know, like you said, second stop for Andy Serkis here, playing an ape of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
For us, he was Kong back in 2005, and now here he is as Caesar. And I really did love him. I think enough of his performance bled through. And, you know, maybe that's because I knew it was Andy Serkis and I'm looking for Andy Serkis things.
Yeah, and I guess, like, no words are spoken for a lot of Caesar's parts. Because, I mean, he only speaks, no, and Caesar is home. So 4 words total ever in this movie. And a lot of it is just facial expressions and, like, his body movements, which he literally was walking around on set with, like, extensions on his arms to walk, like, in, like, everything. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's insane that a human could, I guess, portray an animal this well. And like the facial expressions, like you never questioned what Caesar was feeling in the moment. There was never oh, you know, I don't know what this means. No, his face was very clear. Like whenever he killed the guy and didn't know that the dude was going to die, like we knew that he was affected by that. He didn't really like what he just did instantly.
Or when he's sitting in the cell and James Franco came to pay off the dude to take him home, and he just sits in the corner like, no, motherfucker. You missed your shot.
How he drew the window on the wall and then put his head against it. Like,
and how that kind of, they only show it for a second, but how that kind of became like the symbol for the ape revolution. It's like painted on a stop sign.
Really?
Yeah, later on in the movie, and it's like, I don't think Caesar did it. So it was like I think he kind of was like, this is our symbol. We are the window.
That's sick, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited to watch these next movies. They're all kind of rated around the same on IMDb. Yeah, the first 2 have a 7.6 and the last one has 7.4, which is just pretty good for IMDb. I think they all won. Yeah, they all won an Oscar for visual effects. I think. Yeah, they did.
I'd say rightfully so, or at least were nominated.
Oh, never mind. But this one won, or no, it just was nominated as well. Never mind. They were all nominated for visual effects.
All nominated, none won. I wonder who won those in those years. You know, because these are pretty impressive. Like, I do think like going back to Avatar a couple years prior, I think that like that's kind of an unfair comparison to literally everything else for visual effects. But it was miles better than this, you know, in terms of like believability for me, in terms of like the Na'vi like being there. Like I can tell it's a human motion capturing a monkey at some points, but that's just because I know it's human motion capturing a monkey. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm kind of looking for that at a point.
I've never seen Hugo, but that's what beat out this movie for visual effects in this year.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Real Steel, and Transformers: Dark of the Moon nominated alongside it.
I've never seen Hugo, but I do remember hearing about it and how it was visually.
Oh, it did. Stunning. If I remember correctly, it did well at the Oscars.
Oh yeah, it won 5. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say I remember being a kid and being like, I've heard that movie is fucking fantastic, but I know not a thing about it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. But well, I mean, regardless, I think for 2011, especially, that these effects were amazing. Like the fur on Caesar, like that's like, I don't know, that's just insane that we can tell a computer make monk and it just makes them
make monk.
And I don't know, technology is just insane.
It's come a long way.
But nice to see another familiar face pop back up.
Yeah, we had Frida Pinto back after a Slumdog Millionaire, which was real nice. We'll have James Franco's dad in this movie, John Lithgow. He'll be back in just a couple years for Interstellar.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we got a few that'll recur here.
I know him from Dexter. He's a serial killer and very creepy guy in Dexter. So that's that's all I see him as every time he pops up, which is really sad.
Funny because I know him from a very different role. I know him from How I Met Your Mother, where he plays a very suburban white dad.
Wow, he's like very different. Yes,
you betcha. Yeah, he's got a whole other thing going on. But yeah, John Lithgow, he's a pretty seemingly pretty talented dude. He doesn't vary his performance a lot, if I had to say so myself. He's that serial killer role sounds like that's the one where he really branched out. I did not expect that of my boy John Lithgow.
Yeah. Very creepy, very smart. Gave Dexter a run for his money.
I think he's also in a Campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, he's also in the new Dexter, which I have not seen. I can't speak on that, but wonder how that works because I think sorry, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, Dexter. Don't worry, man. I don't plan on going back and watching Dexter.
I thought he died, but I'm trying to think. I don't know, but yeah, he was in there for quite a few seasons of Dexter. But yeah, I don't know, James Franco. You know, he's just James Franco. I think I don't know who do you think would have fit this role? Like, who would you have liked to see? Like, that's an
interesting question. And in 2011, who do I think could have done this role even better? Robert Downey Jr.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't know. The first one that came to mind. I feel like he definitely could have done that. But
apparently, Tobey Maguire was considered, which is interesting.
That is interesting. Ooh, wait, there was a director's seat one just a little bit up. Yeah, Catherine Bigelow, Robert Rodriguez, all were considered by the studio before director Rupert Wyatt signed on. So Robert Rodriguez, showrunner for the Book of Boba Fett. Catherine Bigelow did a whole bunch of awesome stuff in the 90s and early 2000s. So there could have been a pretty interesting other approach to this aside from Rupert Wyatt's, and I think it was solid. You know, I don't think the direction exactly shines. I don't think it stands out in many ways. But that's what's interesting about this movie. I'm left satisfied, but without anything really standing out to me.
Ooh, Shia LaBeouf was also considered.
Mm.
I think he's like a very method actor, and I feel like he would have. I don't know. He interests me a lot. Like I don't know. I think of him in only Transformers, and like I think that's like just a really bad light for Shia. Like all of his other movies, like whatever.
He's pretty solid.
Fury?
He's a solid actor.
Is it Fury that he's in? One war movie. I don't know. I always get like three of the like very similar war movies. It has like Brad Pitt. And
I know what you're talking
maybe
about.
Saving Private Ryan. Maybe I don't know. I get like all of those.
Older.
Okay, yeah, I get all of those movies confused. But Shia, like in that movie, like I was so emotional and like actually good. Like I don't know. I think that would have been.
No, yeah, and my beef with James Franco in this role isn't necessarily his performance. Like he didn't do bad.
Mm.
I just don't think they gave him anything to chew on. Like it was like, I think that's more on the writing of his character side than on James Franco. I mean, like, frankly, I'd take both Shia LaBeouf and Tobey Maguire over James Franco in this role, but I don't think it's like only James Franco's fault. Like it's like
like one of the saddest scenes that he's supposed to have is like whenever his dad is like, no, like I don't need this, like don't give me this, and then he like dies in his sleep. And like I'm supposed to, I feel I wasn't affected by it as I should have been. I don't know.
Not at all. And like to the point where it's like, if you give this movie another 20 to 30 minutes, make it a 2-hour movie or a 2-hour and 15-minute movie, you can expand on the human side of things a little bit more. It was the fact that like, I'd be willing to, this movie's an hour and 45 minutes. I'd be willing to bet that human story side of it occupied 35 to 40 minutes of it.
Yeah.
And it was like and it still wasn't enough. Like it was like
And yeah, and like even his relationship like it was just very fast. They were like
Freida Pinto was just there. Like, I
think we should go get dinner. I think we should go get dinner. Boom. We're just together, cool. Yeah. And then now, like we're moving to it was like,
and that was really the part that made me go, okay. So the emphasis here is on Caesar. It's not the human side of the story. It is we're advancing Caesar's life to get to the point where the most compelling thing happens to him. It's not about the rest of them. And like, I can tolerate that as long as like they went for emotional payoff. And there was none to be had with his dad dying and stuff. Like it was supposed to be like, fuck, this sucks. But it was like, for me, it was just kind of like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, all right, get back to Caesar, please. Let's see what's going on over there. Just because it's so quick. It's like, I know you're not going to let this breathe. I know we didn't see him mourn his dad.
Yeah.
We see him like get ready for the funeral and that's it.
Yeah. Damn. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this like movie overall. Like I guess like I'm coming off, like Inception, and Avatar and some pretty good movies. But I don't know, like this one just didn't like it didn't have the same punch, I guess, as like all these other movies.
And like to a degree didn't have the same punch on a level that a lot of our movies have. Like it was like I would say this was our most aggressively average movie. Like it's not as glaringly bad as like Spaceballs, but I it's obviously not as fucking fantastic as Scooby-Doo.
Obviously, but yeah, I don't know. I'm like I was trying to think of like where I would be for rating wise, and like I don't know. I think the month of October is going to take a little hit here.
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. I think this is this decade's shortcoming. We usually get about one per decade where it's like, okay, that one wasn't quite on the level of the rest of them. And Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I think we found it. This decade. So as far as I'll lay the ratings out for the people. We got 3 5-star ratings. Out of 5 stars, our enjoyment. So just how much the movie connected with us. We give that a rating out of 5 stars. How well it fulfilled its genre, which will probably be fulfilled pretty well here. That might be its best category. And that's out of 5 stars. And then just overall critically as a film, out of 5 stars. That's where we take into account the performances, direction, writing, soundtrack, etc. We take that out of 5 stars. We take those totals, average amount, and that becomes our overall rating for the film out of 5 stars. So we usually start with enjoyment. What are you feeling here?
Trying to think. I'm looking at our other movies for enjoyment right now.
I'm dipping below there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it might be a
3.75, 3.6 on the level of Training Day or Pulp Fiction sort of thing.
I think I enjoyed this more than Training Day. 'Cause I think Training Day was just kind of I'm watching these events unfold. I don't really know what it's leading to, and then like I get to the end, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This, at least it has very clear direction, and like it's not, like super complicated to follow or anything like that. And it's just a very kind of simple story that is, I think, more enjoyable than Training Day to watch.
I think so too. And, I'd even go as far as saying that, I probably enjoy this more than Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. And
I don't think it's a better movie by any means than Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But at least there's a character I care about and like.
Mm. Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck about the characters in Pulp Fiction. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then
I think I'd rather watch The Departed though.
Yeah, I think The Departed just had a cooler story, more to chew on there.
So maybe just right in between. At a
yep,
3.8.
I think it slots in at a 3.8 out of 5 in terms of enjoyment.
Sounds about right.
Feels right to me.
Now genre. This would be
it does well.
High point, I'd say. And I mean, I guess for the sci-fi, action
drama, sci-fi. Yeah, it's a pretty solid one. I'd probably go in that 4-5 range is probably more where I would come down at. It's not a perfect action sci-fi movie, but like the action sci-fi elements were really cool. Like the battle on the bridge there at the end, the whole testing on monkeys and them becoming intelligent. Like that's a cool angle for a movie, like
kind of sick. It puts it tied with Gladiator in the genre, having like a Maximus, with Caesar, and then it puts it right above Pulp Fiction.
Just right above Pulp Fiction in pretty much every aspect of things.
So yeah, I think 4-5 is fitting there.
I mean, save for the film rating, I'd say this is where it will dip below Pulp Fiction. In this one, if I had to guess so myself,
where is Pulp Fiction a 4.6 for film?
Yeah,
so.
I don't think it's coming close to touching 4.6. Yeah, I'm dipping below Avatar. I'm dipping below pretty much all of that. So let's talk through it out loud. We got some all right performances. The writing didn't give them a lot to chew on. Caesar was far and away the strong point of this movie, which means the visual effects, the performance by Andy Serkis was strong. Soundtrack didn't really stand out to me, but I remember enjoying it. Like it was just kind of like it was solid. It wasn't jaw dropping, but it was all right. How you feeling about it? What are we thinking?
Yeah, I think I think we hold story in a very high. Like this is a very big part of the rating, and the story's concept is cool, but the actual parts of the story, like the human side, could have been done a whole lot better. I think Caesar's story was done well, though.
I agree.
So
the execution was solid, but it wasn't all there.
And like I'm looking at some of these, and like Avatar, I think is just better made. like the Terminator and Ace Ventura are at a 4. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can. I think that's just that might be where it is. Honestly,
Gotcha.
I think. Well,
that's where I went. All right, I went down to Blade Runner and Training Day at a 3.75.
Yeah, I saw Blade Runner, and it's kind of
it's in a similar vein. Where
visually, it was like whoa, but
story wise, it fell flat for us a little bit. And I would say this had one aspect of story that was solid, did not have the visuals, hardly had the performances. Like it was just an all right movie, and I think that's all right. You know, like I think I end up putting this probably on that 3.75, 3.5 to 3.75 sort of range. You know, like I don't think it jumps too far out of there.
It's just funny how our ratings work out sometimes. It came out to a 4.02 on average, which puts it just above Training. Well, not just above Training Day, but above Training Day at a 3.78. Below Inception at a 4.1, and below Pulp Fiction at a 4.23. So all the movies that we were basically like using
as our
like
baseline
compare to, it comes back, and I don't know, they're all pretty.
Right in the middle of them.
So a 4. I mean, that's still an 8 out of 10. You know.
Yeah.
So we're very loving. And IMDb doesn't even give it that. It's a 7.6, I think. So almost an 8 there. But I mean, yeah, I think that falls to 40th out of our movies so far. Not technically 40.
Nah, but it's the 40th movie in the list. It found its place roughly around that 40 mark.
28th, if we actually count all the movies that are tied for places and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's only above Training Day, Blade Runner, Taxi Driver, The Mask, Scarface, MASH, and Spaceballs. And I'd say that makes sense. Like, I think.
I did have a better time watching this than I did Training Day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's a good baseline here. And hell yeah! So Rise of the Planet of the Apes ends up at a 4.02 out of 5 stars, and that places it at 40th on our scores there, which is cool. It's good. It's a solid edition, but not the best.
Mm-hmm.
Solid edition, but not the best. And with that, we conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. It was I, Colton Robertson, and I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. It is always a pleasure.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom. That's COROBLOOM. You'll find over 24 hours of exclusive content over there. And all that money goes back into making sure I can put this podcast on. After that, head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. Again, Rise of the Planet of the Apes came to a 4.02 out of 5 stars for us. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And Caesar is home.